What's going on, everyone? It's Barles, and welcome back to another episode of the Weekend Report. Big round, plenty of high scores, so we'll get stuck in everything. I'm just putting out my usual tweet to say that I'm going live. So give me 2 seconds here, and then we'll get stuck into the round that was. Hope you guys all had a big scoring round. It's a decent week for myself. Big week for the guys at the top as well. So I know that James in second had a 24.90, I think, but Matt had a 24.91 on top. So very, very close up there at the top. And I think Brett in third had a over 2,440, I think, as well. So big round for all those guys at the top there. Here we go. Beautiful. All right, that's done. So we will get stuck into everything. Apologies for the wait there. All right, beautiful. All right, so hope we're all doing well. Sorry for that. Also, if you guys can, if you haven't done already yet, make sure you leave a like on the video if you're enjoying the content on the channel. It's a good video the other day with Xavier ELLIS. So if you haven't checked that out, I know it's a weekend forecast around that's just gone, but if you just want to go back and have a listen for just some footy talk, go check out the video of Xavier. He's a great bloke, and we had a very good chat as we previewed round 19 and just spoke just general about footy and fantasy and stuff. So yeah, make sure you check that out. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're up to 514, sorry. So we're close. We're slowly creeping up towards 1,000. But if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do. And also, if you have already subscribed, if you want to do something else to help out the channel, then make sure you share it around with friends, share it on Twitter, retweet tweets I put out, or share it on Facebook or wherever you're watching from. And then more people get stuck into the weekend forecast report and stuff. So, but yeah, no, thank you for all the support you guys show anyway. So let's get stuck into the round that was. So my round has updated. Yes, Sinclair got an extra 3 points. That's good. So I got a 23.88. So that ranked me, I don't know if it's updated with the late update. So I'm currently 13.52 for the week, which means that will probably moves me up to 22.27. But with the added 3 points, I may move up a bit. So I might move closer to 2,200, which is good. So that's another 450 spots I moved up. So creeping closer to that top 2K, and then hopefully closer to that top 1,000. So I don't actually know exactly how far I'm off of that yet, but hopefully creeping closer to that. So yeah, good week, plenty of good performers and everything. So +3, a couple of good performers here. So like you had Bont was great again. I did flag on Friday. I think Bont's going to go big for the remainder of the year, just with Bulldogs trying to fight for finals. Another 125 for him. Bailey Smith solid on debut with a 107. Taranto was good for his biggest score since I've had him with a one. Wait, was that his biggest score since I had him? No, he got a 125, but his second big score since I've had him with a 123. He was really good as well. Speaking of English was good on last night with a 116. Responded. I was tempted to trade him, but luckily I held Cripper with a 121. He arguably could get the +3 because I'm probably going to hold him now for an extra week because he's got the Crows, which is a good matchup for him. Doherty with that massive last quarter. He was on 54 points at 3/4 time, ended up with a 109. So he just gets it done. I put a tweet out about it before. So yeah, he's fantastic. And Rory Laird, 138 for him. I put him captain. I'm glad I had it on him. He was fantastic. But my +3 this week has to go to Jack Steele. 154. He was fantastic in the game today. He had 40 disposals. How many tackles in that? He had 40 disposals, 10 marks, 8 tackles. It's just that's the Jack Steele that we saw at the back half of last year. Simple as that. It's the first time in his career he's got 40 disposals. So that's obviously very, very good for him. But yeah, he looked back right to his best, and he's got his favourite team to score against in Hawthorn, or one of his favourite teams to score against in Hawthorn, coming up this week at Marvel Stadium, averaged 108.9 against them. So I'll be definitely putting him. Does he play? Yeah, good. He plays before Laird as well, so he'll probably be my VC into Laird, pretty much looking at it straight away. So yeah, very, very happy with Jack Steele. First score over 131 this year. Got 130 against Hawthorn earlier in the year, but this is his first big score of the year. So yeah, just really, really good to watch him go big as well. So yeah, very happy with him. terms of -3, it's got to go to Darcy Cameron. Like, bloody hell, man. Like, 34. Like, I think Mason Cox had the majority of the ruck today. I didn't actually watch this game. I only saw like the last couple of minutes. Obviously, what a goal by Elliott to win the game. Bloody ice in his veins, that's for sure. But yeah, so what was this? I'm just trying to look at the CBAs were between Cox and Cameron, because it seemed to me that Mason Cox would have probably had more. So Mason Cox had 18, Darcy Cameron had 8, which is really weird because Darcy Cameron's been number one ruck for a fair while. I don't know if that's an indication that maybe it'll be Cox that gets dropped for Grundy and they want Darcy Cameron settled in this forward and backup ruck role. I've got no idea, but he's got to go. He got 34 this week. This week he's going to drop in money. So, yeah, he's got to go. The other special mention for -3 that I've got to give it to is the only score under 80 this week for me was Petrarca with a 69. So, he had an okay last quarter to even salvage a 69, but bloody hell, man. Like, he won the North Tasmania against the Bulldogs, dominating him. He dominated them in round 1 with a 141. So, I thought maybe a decent enough score would have come up. But he hasn't been great, obviously, since he's been sick. He's gone 89, 86, and he had his bye. Then 107, 141, 96, 100, 69. I know he's had a few difficult games there. Only the one real big score. But, yeah, you'd want more from a guy like him that is meant to be scoring a lot better than that. So, but, yeah, that's my -3 there. Crispy was a bit quiet as well today, but he got to an 80. He had a big last quarter, so he just keeps getting the job done. So, there you go. That's how my week went. Let's see how your weeks went. So, Moon Boy, goodbye, Darcy Cameron. Yep, 100%. He's gone. Shane, you're in. Captain Steele. The don't captain a guy in last game. Sunday's a myth. Haha. +3 to Steele. -3 to Cameron. May go Cameron to Gawn now. Yeah, that's going to be a very popular trade. Gawn and English is the meta for the remaining rounds. Yes, I agree, Moon Boy, with that one. Joe Key's got 23.98, +3 Steele, Witts, Merritt, Warner on debut, and led captain in a tough matchup, and -3 to Sean Darcy and Mitch Duncan. Yeah, the Sean Darcy, obviously, you can move him to an English or a Marshall or a Gawn this week. That'll be a pretty popular move for your Witts and your Darcy and that. Duncan as well. Just a difficult matchup. Port were always going to be difficult. They're the most restrictive team, I think, for defenders. So with Stewart back next week, that is going to be interesting. I think a couple of coaches may move off Duncan just to get off of him, but yeah, I guess we'll see. Andrew Griffiths, 23.77. Very happy apart from Cameron. Yep, agreed, 100%. Besides him, Petrarca, for me, I was pretty happy with my week. I took Mills 118 instead of Steele. What do we think is par for VC this time of the year? Last 2 years been brutal. Last 2 weeks been brutal. Yeah. Well, for me, Andrew, I always take pretty much anything over 110 because, like, for this round, even if you remove, there's only five players this round that went over 130. So even if you're taking a 118, you're not giving up a lot. So really, besides, Jack Steele at 154, top scored for round, which we'll discuss him later as well. Brad Crouch, 147, Laird, 138, Gawn, 133, Hayden Young, 132. Besides that, there was a fair number of 120s there, but Callum Mills was only 20 points off of the third best scorer for the week. So you're not, and only 15 points off of the fourth best. So you're not actually giving up a lot. So for me, I take anything over 110. So, but yeah, that's just personally how I go with the captains anyway. Shano, 83, 23.87 with Cameron's 30-odd. Yep, well, oh, mate, very close for us. Yeah, I only pipped you by a point, but yes, I had Cameron as well. So just imagine for us, if we did have Cameron, we would have gone a lot bigger. Like Gawn, for example, we would have got nearly 100 points extra. I would have been up with your Matt and James that came top sort of 30 for the week if I had that one different player. But yeah, such is fantasy. Andrew Griffiths, hope I don't get stuck with Cameron as Treloar probably missed the week. Yeah, well, I just guess we'll have to see with Treloar and see what happens there. Moonboy 30 is unacceptable. Yep, agreed. 100%. Cameron was just awful. Andrew Griffiths played forward, so scoring's over. Yeah, great. And Grundy will be back within the next 2 weeks. He'll probably play in the VFL this week, and then he'll come back the week after. So for me, I'll be trading this week. I've got some cash, which I'll go through my trades, which I might have to do after. 23.36 for James H, +3 to Steele, -3 to Cameron. Yeah, disgusting frame with Jack Steele, 100%. So yeah, James Snap with exactly the same, +3, -3. Shannon Page, great week to bring in Petrarca, my pod captain. Oh no, exactly same score as Laird on the app, except Petrarca's doubled as captain. Oh. Sorry to hear about that, Shannon. That sucks. I can understand why you went a pod captain, because Petrarca's dominated the Bulldogs in the past, and unfortunately, sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't, unfortunately. And then Moynia Monkey, 22.39 plus 3 to Steele, and then -3 to Petrarca. And you've also put there Libba, or I think Libba, or if you've got, or if that's Lipinski, it could be Lipinski that you mean, because you said Lipper, so maybe. What did Lipinski score in that game? Maybe that would give me a fair indication. Lipinski 50. So yeah, it might have been Lipinski. So yeah, not great from him either. So yeah, so has anything been updated, my ranking? I just want to see if I've moved up a couple of spots at all. Nope, not yet. But yeah, as I said, another good week, another moving in the right direction. So let's get stuck into the round review, which we always do. So get into discussions and obviously get involved with the chat as well as we review all these games. And also, as I said before, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share the content around so people can see. I think there's a little icon in the bottom right corner of the video now that it's just easy. It's literally one click to subscribe. Even if you don't want to watch my videos after this one, even just subscribing and clicking it does actually really help out the channel as well. So yeah, thanks for the support. We'll go to the first game. So Richmond and Fremantle on Friday night. So Hayden Young top scoring with a 132. Very good for those draft owners that got him. Luke Ryan, very similar with that, 124. Very good for draft owners. Will Brodie continues his fantastic season with another 105. He's been great in his last 5 weeks. He's gone 117, 104, 93, 91, and 105. So we're not moving him. Simple as that. Like, well, we can't move him because he's been so good. And he's getting consistent game time now. So since the bye, he's gone 70 in terms of percentage, 76% game time, 68, 72, 71, and 76. So he's now starting to push above that 70% game time, which is obviously what we want to see for him, because his scoring will just increase, I think, as he plays more game time, which is good to see. Then you had Dion Prestia 105, Lostone 103. So a couple of, again, this is more for draft. Not too many fantasy relevant players in this game. Andrew Brayshaw 98. Oh, disappointing. So I've owned him for 2 weeks. I've got a 78 and a 98. He was on 61 at half time, and he only got a 37-point second half. So disappointing, but he'll be fine. He's got a couple of good matchups coming up. So he's got Melbourne this week, give up points to the midfielders. It's at Optus. He'll be a pretty good VC, I think, as well. He's another option that I'll consider. Bulldogs, tougher matchup under the roof at Marvel, though. Then he's got West Coast and Giants to finish the year. So should be some good scores there for Andrew Brayshaw. But yeah, disappointed I haven't got 100 from him yet, which happens a lot with the premiums I end up bringing into my side. Jaden Shaw, 83 again, disappointing. I think that if you've got him, I think you can look at moving him on. We've seen enough of a sample size of him playing midfield that he's just not going to be a high scorer with all these top 6 defenders. So he's gone since he's moved in the midfield in round 7, he's only gone 2, 3, 400s, and in his last 4 games he's gone 84, 92, 98, 83. So it's just not what you want to see. So yeah, definitely can move on from him. Noah Cumlin was solid again with a 71. So if you had him on your bench or brought him in this week or last week, he was good again. Had another couple of shots at goal. Yeah, he's just getting involved. He just looks like a really good player. So kudos to those people that brought him in. Sean Darcy, 68. I think we can look at moving on from him now. You've got your English that played well on the weekend and look back to his early season form. So he's a good option. Max Gawn looked great. And then also Marshall looked really good in the last quarter, but looked okay today as well. So you can also look at him as well as an option. In terms of other players this game, Nan Curvis, 44. That's very disappointing if you've got him. Definitely move on from him. He's been really disappointing of late. So he's gone in his last 3 games, 46, 90, and 44. And I'm pretty sure that 90 was on 70 at 17 at half time. So he saved his score then. But yeah, just definitely move on from him. Sonsi, 44 on a lot of people's benches if people brought him in. And Fife obviously was injured in this game with a 30. So that sucks for him, but he'll probably be missing a couple of weeks. Moving on to the Sydney and Adelaide game. Also, if you have any questions as well, we'll go through the questions as usual after we go through all these games when we finish reviewing. So yeah, thank you for all the questions, and make sure you get them in as well wherever you're watching, whether that's from Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Just put them in the live chat there. Rory Laird, 138. So I'll put a stat up beforehand as well on Twitter. So I'm just going to the tweet here. Actually, probably one of the more liked ones I put up, which is obviously always nice. So yeah, here, Rory Laird he's currently on an insane run of form, which we all know, right? He's only had one score under 118 since round 7, which was against St Kilda with a 97. So, like, 97 is not that bad. Like, there's plenty of prems out there that get 97, and that's okay, right? 7 games in a row of 120 points. And another great account on Twitter you should follow, Jana Popowski, very, very good with all of his statistics and analysis on there. That he's the first player to have 7 games in a row of 120 point plus 120 points or more, right? So you had a couple of people. I think I ended up asking Jaden to put the stat up, and in terms of like runs of 120 plus points, you had Wayne Carey in 2000, Gary Ablett in 2010, Brendan Goddard in 2010, Tom Rockcliffe 2015, Tom Rockcliffe in 2016 and 17, Adam Treloar in 2016-17, Sam Doherty in 2017, Tom Mitchell 2017, and Josh Kelly in 2019 all had 6 games of 120 plus points, and then Rory Laird's the only guy that's had 7 in the history. And he's currently on a run of 43 games with at least 24 disposals. Him and Jack Mcrae are both, well, they're on 44 now because they obviously got, actually, no, Jack Mcrae might be ahead now of 44. So, but yeah, they've both been fantastic. But yeah, Rory Laird, he's insane, just absolutely insane. He's averaging 121.4 for the year. And if you don't have him, if you can somehow afford to get to him, you just need him. He's just been very, very good. Sam Berry, very impressive again, 124 points. So he's definitely going to be someone that we're going to be talking about in the future in our fantasy teams because his tackling is unbelievable. So he's in his since round, I'm just trying to get it up here, since round 15. So in 5 games, he's gone 13 tackles, 7 tackles, 17 tackles, 14 tackles. Absolutely ridiculous. He'd be averaging about, 13, 14 tackles a game. So, yeah, he's just very, very good, isn't he? So he got another 124, 111 last week. He's just been consistently over 65. Like, the only thing he's got to work on now is getting the ball around the ground. Obviously, he did that on the weekend with 24 disposals and getting a few more marks, but that'll just come as he develops. So he'll be one for the future, but a good score for him. Callum Mills, 118, just continues his very good form again. So he's now had 3 good games in a row since that 50, 148, 132, 118. So he's definitely an option that I'll be considering this week. Chad Warner, 115, continues his good form as well. He'll be another underpriced option people can consider to bring in this week. Especially with a good run as well for Sydney. Luke Parker, a guy that I might be looking at as a forward, 782k, a solid score, 114. Just with a good run coming up, I think he'll be a popular target if you don't have him. Ben Keys, 108, good to respond from the 76 last week. Riley O'Brien, 104, which was good from him. Jordan Dawson, 103, had a big last quarter as well to get to that. Just shows he can get tagged and he can still get himself to a good score. So he's a top 3 defender, and that's pretty much it from there. Isaac Heaney, 101. He's just not an option. But if you got him in draft, you'd be happy with that 100 there. That's his first 100 since, round 14 against Port. But they've both been 101. So he hasn't gone over 103 since round 5. So, it's been a long time since Heaney has been performing well there. Who else we got? Jake Lloyd, 80, did well to get to there as well. He's on 48 at 3/4 time. So good last quarter to get there. I just don't see him as an option. He's just too up and down. I wouldn't want him. So Jake Saligo, another 75. So he continues to just pump out some solid scores there. I moved on from him last week, but if you haven't moved on from him, he's on your bench. He is a solid guy to have there as cover. So he was impressive again. And that's pretty. And then Parnell got a 33. So if anyone had him, he was disappointing. So that's it from that game. So move on to North Melbourne and Hawthorn. So Aaron Hall, we're going to have that discussion again. He's going to be here. So 122, played really well. I was very, very close. He was on 80 at halftime. So as for non-owners, it was good that he didn't keep going monster. He only got 42 points the second half. But funny enough, so when I woke up on Saturday morning, I saw Aaron Hall was a late in, and I was very close to going Cripper to Mills and then going Hewitt to Hall. But I thought, I can't do that because what if he gets injured? So obviously Saturday I was thinking, bloody hell, like 122 from Hall, 118 from Mills. I thought I'd made a mistake. But Bailey Smith with a 107, and then was it 107 from him, and then who's the other one I had? Cripps with 121. So I lost 12 points, if that. So, and then if I did that, I wouldn't have had Laird VC. I would have had Mills VC. So then I would have lost 20 points there because I would have taken Mills's VC score. So I end up actually working out better. So it's fine. But he's an option because of his scoring potential, and he's got some good matchups coming up. So he's got Essendon at Marvel this week. He's got Sydney at Marvel. He's got the Adelaide Oval. And he's got Gold Coast at Marvel. So 3 games on the roof, and then Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. He could be an option for those that are trying to just get a pod and that's cheap, but it comes with a lot of risk. So yeah, just definitely be watching out for that. Jack Gunston 118 played well there. Obviously, first game since his dad passed away. 9 scoring shots, could have been a lot bigger as well. LDU, I know Darcy jumped on him. If you listen to him on the Twitter space on Friday night, 113. So that was good. He came good late. He was sort of on track for a 90 odd. But then he obviously had a good last half and ended up getting to a good score. So he was good. John Newcomb, again, just 107. He's just going to be a good player for the future. So he'll be an option we'll look at then. Tom Mitchell, 106. So he only had 14 CBAs, which I think was still under 40%, which obviously isn't great. Gave away 5 free kicks. That could have been a lot bigger. But I'm still looking at moving him on this week. St Kilda's a tough matchup. And he's just not getting that role. So I know a 107, 106, sorry, I'll take a good score, but I will move on from him. He's got St Kilda, Gold Coast at UTAS, which you would imagine should be a huge game, but just with the role he's playing, I just don't know if it's going to be there. Richmond and the Bulldogs. So I'm looking at moving off, and I think a lot of people will as well, even though he got a 106. Dylan Moore, 104, so people that jumped on him, he was good yet again. So that's now 300s in a row, 129, 112, 104. He's got 400s in his last 5 as well. So he's been really good playing in the midfield. How many CBAs did he actually get this week? Let's have a look, because that'd be interesting, because obviously he's been playing a fair bit more in the midfield of late. Let's have a look. So CBAs for the game. So yeah, Dylan had the second most at 18. So he's definitely found that role there. And Mitchell's been the one to actually suffered from that, because Mitchell was playing about that 55% before Dylan Moore. Well, it was fluctuating for Mitchell, but since Moore's been in, Mitchell has been a lot under. So yeah, he's just he's going to be an option. He's just going to keep playing well, and with a few good. They got some good games coming up, but as I said with Mitchell, they can be difficult on their day. But yeah, Dylan Moore's definitely an option people can consider. Sicily 85. I did consider trading him a fair while ago, because since round 10, he's gone 97, 86, 84, 100, 84, 81, 108, 72, 85. Like if I'm talking about short trading him out, then Sicily's got to be a trade out, because he's just an 80s guy at the moment. He's not having many of these big games. I got a 108 against the Crows, but besides that, he's gone 100 or less since round 9. So not great. I'm going to keep him, though, for this week. He's got St Kilda. I'd rather trade Mitchell because I can get him up to a big midfielder. But Sicily to Tom Stewart is definitely a trade that I will be doing at some point this season. Just depends when I do that. So Jed Anderson, 85. It's an okay game, but hopefully you guys can move off him soon if you haven't already. Anyone else from here? Goldie only 54. So I don't know. I did suggest it a couple of weeks ago, but he wasn't great this week. Jai Simpkin, 52. That's disgusting. James, as we know, is a big fan of Simpkin. He was not great. So he just has these games, just at least with LDU's been consistent for pretty much all season. But Simpkin's been that guy. Like he'll have 6 games. A couple of them will be over 110. You'll have a couple of hundreds. You have a 90. Then you'll have a 50. So that's just pretty much what he's been, which is disappointing. We obviously Selby and a few other people were big on him in the preseason, taking that his scoring to the next level to maybe a 105 plus guy for a whole year, but it just hasn't translated into that this season. So, and then Jason Front's only a 35. So, yeah, there you go. Moving on to the twilight game, the Port Adelaide and Geelong game. So Carl Amon 126. He played well. So he's been okay pod for a few people that jumped on. So since the bye, he's actually had 3 poor weeks before this week. Got a 60, a 74, and a 98. He's just not an option, but in draft, it was a good score. He would have got there. Ryan Burton the same with a 111. He had a couple of sort of non-relevant fantasy players. Power Pep 109, Aaliyah 102. Rosie got 100, so he played well in the last quarter. I think he had a 40-point last quarter, because I think or 30-something point last quarter, because he was on 60-something at 3/4 time. So good for him to get to 100 there for those owners Tom Atkins has been very impressive in the midfield. 92. He's not obviously not an option, but he's just getting the job done. Like his last 4, 100, 108, 77, 92. So if you picked him up off the scrap heap in draft, you'd be happy with that. Boak, 85. Zach Butters, 83. I think everyone's pretty much moved off him. Cam Guthrie, 74. So I've said before, I don't think he is an option. He played well and was starting to prove me wrong and thinking, here we go. But his last 2, 89, 74. His game time again is it's only 70%. His last 4 games in terms of percentage is 69%, 75%, 74%, 70%. So he's just not going to be that uber premium that those other guys are, like your Jack Steeles, your Callum Mills, Andrew Brayshaw. Well, Andrew Brayshaw's a little bit less game time, but those like Petrarca, Oliver, guys that play 85+%. He's just not going to be that because he's that 70% guy. Holly Wines again, another 70. So hopefully you guys have moved off him by now because he has been really disappointing. So since his bye, he's gone 72, 105, 79, 112, 87, 88, 71. So he just hasn't been great. I nearly brought him in actually in round 11. Round 10, sorry, when after he got the 128. I'm glad I didn't because that could have been a season record, that one there. Anyone else we got here? Mitch Duncan, 62. As I said before, Port are very restrictive for defenders. So Mitch Duncan was never going to have not never, but he wasn't likely to have a huge score. So I don't know if I'd necessarily trade him out. I know Stewart's back this week. I think Duncan can still score well. He was really good in the, 4, 5, 6 weeks before that, bar one game. So I don't know if I'd trade him out, but yeah, Dogs at GMHB is a good matchup. So maybe give him another week to see how he goes. If it's another poor score, then you could potentially look at moving off. But yeah, I know a couple of people may move off of him just to get a bit of a leg up potentially. But then again, he could pump out a good score. Jace Burgoyne, 61. He was good for people that got him riding on the bench there. DeConey, 55 there. Houston, 46. Like, you just can't consider Houston. I haven't been a big fan of his either. His last 4 games, he's gone 47, 62, 121, 46. 3 scores of under 65 and 2 of them under 50 is disgusting. I know he only played 57% game time. I think he got injured in this game, so obviously that had a little bit to do with it. But he's been carrying that injury for a month now, whatever it is, because he's been banged up in his last couple. He's obviously played well last week against Melbourne, but yeah, not great for Houston there. Dangerfield, 33. Wow, that's not great, is it? I know a couple people would have jumped on after that 105 against Melbourne. He looked really good. He gave away 3 free kicks, which I would have got a 40. So yeah, I don't know. Like, is he even an option for next year now? He's averaging 74 for the year. He's going to be cheap next year, but could you trust him? Like, he's just not the same player anymore. I just think it's as simple as that. So yeah, and that's it from that game. So we'll move on to Brisbane and Gold Coast. So Jared Witt's top scoring for the game, the 121. So got people that have got holding on to him still. He just gets the job done. That's now his second 120 in his last 5 weeks. So yeah, it was good for him to have a ceiling score like that, especially against Oscar McInerney, who's meant to be one of the more restrictive ruckmen. Toot Miller, 120. So yeah, I do really like him as an option as well. He's got West Coast Hawthorn his next 2. So yeah, I'm definitely looking at him this week. Geelong and North Melbourne are the other 2 games. So yeah, he's definitely an option that I'm considering this week. I'm actually not sure if I'm going to go to him and Mills, to be honest, as my midfield upgrade. Anderson, 109. Ellis, 108. So both couple of good ones for draft there. I think has Ellis been doing quite well lately? He's got a few 70s and a couple of hundreds. So no, not really. Hugh McCluggage, 97. He was on 27 points in the blink of an eye at the start of the game and didn't really kick on with it. So yeah, he's still a good pod to pick up, but maybe I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, probably just not a great score. I still don't mind McCluggage as an option. He's expensive. That's the only thing that puts me off of him. Lockie Neal, 95. He's getting a little frustrating now. He's been great all year, but his last 5 games, 4 of them been under 100, including 79, 133, 67, 91, 95. I'm tempted to potentially move off because I do see this continuing, him getting attention. So Richmond probably not going to get any attention. Did he play Richmond? He hasn't played Richmond this year. I probably will keep him for that game, but Carlton, if Hewitt's back, could go to him. St Kilda, they could send a Windhager or someone to him. And then Melbourne, Harms are going to go to him. So I'll probably trade Lockie Neal in round 23, if I'm being honest. But yeah, just someone that you could move off of because he's so highly owned and he's getting attention every week because there's no second guy in the midfield that they can go, oh, we should take this guy instead. It's Neal and that's it. So yeah, I might be moving off of him in the next few weeks. Mcrae with a 70 taking any marks. Well, he took 3. There you go. Well, as we said, the good thing is at least that he's adding marks. So now he's taken a mark in 4 consecutive weeks. And then 5 of his last 6 weeks, he's taken a mark. So, yeah, and he's taken his season high tally of 3 today. So, and I'm not making fun. I'm literally just saying that it's good because we want him to add that so then he can become an option for us. So, yeah, he'll be hopefully adding more marks in the future. Elijah Holland, 64. So he's a good downgrade option this week. People looking for one there. He won't be that expensive. He'll only go up a little bit there. I know Rich got subbed out again with a 57. So just that the hamstrings and over 30, that's just going to happen now. And I reckon that's it from that game. So we'll move on to the Bulldogs and Melbourne game. So Max Gawn, top scoring in the game with 133. He was very good. He's definitely an option. Has to be. 92% game time. Actually, I didn't check what the CBAs were between him and Jackson on the weekend. But yeah, Gawn looked good. It was the first time he looked good since returning. Obviously, he had a couple of weeks where he didn't look right, but he looked good this game as well. And that was with the Bulldogs trying to avoid him, and he still got a 130. So, yeah, I do really like Gawn as an option, and I'm very likely to be bringing Gawny back into the team this week. So, let's have a look at CBAs in this game between him and Jackson. So, Gawn had 24 and Jackson had 11. So, yeah, it was double Jackson's. So, yeah, and I don't see that changing much because Jackson had that little bit of a knock. I think they're going to want to protect him a little bit. Plus, as well, Gawn, captain, they just lost. They're going to want to respond again because they need to keep Geelong are now on top. They're now game clear, so Melbourne are going to want to keep in touch. So, yeah, I do really like Gawn as an option this week. Angus Brayshaw with a 126. He was good. He had 3 down weeks, an 80, 92, and 72, but 2 of those were against pretty restrictive teams, Port and Geelong. So, Freeman of Collingwood, Carlton and Brisbane, an okay run home. Could be a bit of a pod option in defence. Bont, as I said before, I just see him going big for the rest of the year now. That's now his 2 high scores have come in his last 2 weeks. And I just don't see that changing because they just need him to keep doing this because they need to make finals. And they're in the 8 now, but with St Kilda winning, now St Kilda and Bulldogs are level. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Tim English, another great option, as I said with Gawn. 116, he looked back to form again. So I do like him as an option. Only had the 19 hitouts as well for that. Obviously, he was never going to get a lot of hitouts. Very difficult matchup against Gawn and Jackson. Geelong, potentially without Stanley. So that could be a really good matchup for English this week. He's got Freo, so Sean Darcy there. Giants could be Bruce. Oh, and then he good last time he played Bruce, he got bloody concussed, didn't he? And the Hawthorn, good matchup in the last round. So he's got a couple of good matchups there. But as we know, he doesn't rely on hitouts. Bailey Smith, really like him as an option. Picked him up this week myself. He got a 107. That's now back-to-back 100 since he's come back. He's only had the 2 games under 100 this year. That really weird going against Geelong with obviously the headbutt. And then the 92 against Adelaide when he was on 45 at quarter time or something. So that was a bit disappointing. But good matchups to come in the last 2 weeks, especially. Geelong and Freo a little bit tougher, but I think Bailey Smith will be fine. What did he play game time wise? So 82. So maybe that's just going to be his role now. Maybe he's not going to be playing at 90% like he was earlier in the year. Dunkley 102. Good to see him back over 100 again after a couple of down weeks. So obviously everyone's got him now. But yeah, good score from him. Jack Mcrae came back really well late. He was on 12 at quarter time. I think he was on 30-something, 35 or 38 at half time and really struggling. But he came back late, especially late in the second quarter to the end of the game. So it was good for him to save that score. He just hasn't been that guy that we've been used to in the past. Only played 72% game time. So that's now 3 games in a row under 78% game time, including 2 under 75. So I don't know if that's going to be what they're doing moving forward, but hopefully, so to get 101 in that little game time was really good. So, but yeah, Mcrae will be fine. Just not going to be that ceiling that we've seen in years past. Adam Treloar, 98, but he obviously came off with calf tightness. Just keep an eye on the news because I know he's quite heavily owned. I don't own him myself. I was always looking at him as well. I nearly brought him in this week over Bailey Smith, but I thought I'll go Bailey Smith instead. But yeah, just keep an eye on to the news and see if he's going to play, because he's looked good in his half-back role as well. He's been getting a lot of those +6s and getting a fair bit of the ball. So hopefully he'll be playing this week. Clayton Oliver, 94. So first game back. I think he looked fine. So I don't think there's any reason why, if you were looking at him this week, you couldn't bring him in. So he's going to drop a little bit as well. He's going to be a top 8 mid. I think you can still look at bringing him in. The only thing he just lacked was just the marks this week. He only had the one mark. Didn't have many tackles. That's probably due to the thumb. But obviously, as he keeps playing extra games, I think he'll be fine. So I don't mind him as an option. I prefer a couple of other options, but if you've got the top 6, I still don't mind bringing Oliver in. Bailey Dale, 86. That's okay. Salem, 83. He just hasn't been the same this year, only averaging 70. Petrarca, 69. As I mentioned before, very disappointing, but I'll probably keep hold of him. He only had one mark, 2 tackles, which is disappointing, and he missed a couple of shots at goal. Again, he's got some good matchups coming, so I think he'll be fine. It was just disappointed that he had 3 of his last 4 were over 100, and then including the one that was under was a 96. But yeah, hopefully he'll be okay. But if not, if he has another poor week, I'll probably look at moving him on. Libber, 69, disappointing for those people that moved on to him as a pod. Bookie Kamas, mine and Jake from Hatchat's mate, 57. So good, just making some money on the bench. Luke Jackson, 50. Hopefully you moved on from him, but if you didn't, you're going to have to move on from him now, definitely. And that is it from that game. So we'll move on to the 3 games from today. So Carlton and Jerusalem, so high-scoring fantasy game, a lot of hundreds here. So Tim Taranto, top scoring with 123. Really like him as an option. I know Josh Kelly was out, but he still didn't have that massive bump in CBS like I probably thought he would have. He only had, I think he was third in line. I think Ward was the one in there. So Kelly comes in. I think Ward will go out. But yeah, Taranto, 300s in his last 4, including 2 120s. I think he'll end the season really well. He's averaging 99 for the year. So yeah, I do like him. Paddy Cripps, so 121, looked really good. Look back to the form from the first half of the year. Had 34 disposals, had 6 marks, 4 tackles, which is good. He doesn't normally get a lot of those, and had kicked 1 goal, 2. So is that the first time? This would be the first time in a while he's had multiple shots at goal. So that's the first time since round 11 against Collingwood when he has had more than 1 shot at goal. So yeah, he had 1 goal, 2. Could have been bigger, but I'm not complaining. 121, and he's got a really good run home as well. So could you potentially hold him? He's got the Crows this week. I'll be holding. I think he'll play well against my boys this week. Brisbane at the Gabba. Brisbane giving up points. He's got Melbourne who give up points to midfielders, but I would imagine they're probably going to send harms to him, so maybe I'll probably move off him and then. But then he's got Collingwood, so he's got his last 4 games. If they don't tag, maybe Harms goes to Walsh instead, maybe, but he's got 4 easy games if he doesn't get any attention. So you could hold. You could honestly do that. Doherty, 109. Again, as I said before, huge finish to the game. 56-point last quarter. So ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. He just knows how to get it done. So he's just fantastic. 109. That's now how many hundreds? Oh, okay, so he's gone 2 scores under 100 in his last 4. But yeah, he just knows how to get it done. So yep, good run home as well. If you don't have Doc, you can definitely bring the Doc in. Now, Calvin's going to love this one. Juicy Prusy, 105. So he had a good game. He had a good second half as well. I think he was on 38 or something at halftime. Got a 105. Had, how many hits? He had 36. Gave away 3 free kicks as well, but we know that he gives away a lot of free kicks. Look, if you want to jump on the Prusy roller coaster, you can. I won't be. There's your Marshall, English, and Gawn, I'd rather. But if you want that excitement, I guess Prusy could be a guy you could jump on. Himmelberg, Harry Himmelberg, 103 again. So, remove that 66 he scored in the wet. He's only had 1 score under 99, and that was an 84 against Port Adelaide, and Port Adelaide are very restrictive. So, I think he's going to be a top 6 defender for the rest of the year, to be honest, or top 6. I'd rather him in defence because the defenders have fallen off. I think a few more forwards have come and played a lot better. So, I think Himmelberg could be top 6 forward top 6 defender, for the rest of the year. So, if you've got him, I definitely would moving on. And he's also potentially a target because he's been playing really well. And who have they got to finish the year? Have they got a good run? So Sydney, Essendon, Bulldogs, Freo. Well, Sydney and Bulldogs will score a lot. So they'll have, and so will Freo. So, and probably Essendon. So I think he'll end the year well. So I do like him. Sam Walsh, what a recovery. had a huge last quarter and a bit after. It looked like, I thought he was out. I honestly thought he was not going to play for the rest of the game. He's going to be out for a few weeks in a forced trade for people. But 42 points in just over a quarter after that ankle tweak. Yeah, great. But hopefully he's okay. We did see like a Lockie Neal last year against Carlton do the same thing, but then he ended up doing his sin as most. So hopefully it's not the sin, and hopefully Walsh will be fine. Who else do we have here? Cornelio, 88. He's had a couple of weeks under 100 now, which obviously 92, 88. That was his worst score since being in the midfield. But hey, he's going to be a top 6 forward still. I don't see him moving out of there. So yeah, definitely be holding on to him. Callum Brown, 72 for people that got him on the bench, was solid again. Jacob West, 64. Had a quiet second half. I think he only had 7 points in the second half. So that would have been a good score for owners. But if you had to like play him for maybe cover, 5 marks, 6 tackles was good as well. But yeah, just didn't have the impact in the second half there. Isaac Cummings, 60. Yeah, it's just hard when him and Himmelberg. I think Himmelberg is the main guy back there. That's 2 60s in his last 3. So if you've got him, you could move him on, but I wouldn't be looking at Cumming now. I think he's shown a few of those scores that I wouldn't be looking at him. Who else we've got? Durden, 44. He's still sitting on my bench. So yeah, he'll probably sit there for the rest of the year if I'm being honest. And that's it. So we'll move on to the final 2 games. So the Collingwood, Essendon and West Coast St Kilda game. So also, if you're watching live, make sure you get in the live chat wherever you're watching. If you've got any questions, put in your scores for the week, +3, -3, rage trades, whatever, put it in the chat. And we'll get to all those once we finish the last 2 games. Also, make sure you like the video if you're enjoying the content and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're at 514. So, yeah, even as I said, even if you don't watch the videos, just subscribe and it'll help us out. So, thank you very much for that. Collingwood and Essendon. So, Zach Merritt, 121. This could have been a lot bigger. He only had 11 points, 10 points in the last quarter. I'm glad as a non-owner but that's now 5 games over 118. So he's got to be, he has to be an option. So yeah, I'm definitely looking at him. He's got North Melbourne this week, Giants, another good matchup. He's got Port and Richmond. Surely people got to start putting some attention into him. Like he's running free and getting a lot of the ball. So that's the only thing that concerns me is that I know fact if I bring him in this week against North, they'll send, I don't know, maybe someone tag him. And then he won't play well. So, yeah. But Merritt, great option to look at. Dyson Apple, 117, good for draft. I don't think he's had a 60 and a 70 before that. So, yeah, good for draft. Dylan Shield, 104. They were the only 300s. Very low-scoring fantasy game, this one. So, Taylor Arms, 82, was top-scoring Collingwood player. I think Jane Papowski, again, as I mentioned before, great account on Twitter. I think he said it's the first time in like nearly 20 years or something since the winning team, their high score was less than was 82 or less. So yeah, ridiculous. Nick Dacos, 82. Didn't watch the game, so I don't know if he got any attention. So if anyone can let me know of the live chat if he did, I'd be interested to see if he got tags. To get to an 82, if he did, it was pretty solid. So yeah, 82 for him. Nick Martin, 82. So right there with the two best cash cows for the year. Nick Dacos over the best one, but Nick Martin also got a case there because he was 190, whereas Dacos a bit more expensive there. Jack Crisp, 80. Good last quarter to save that. So he just hasn't been the same in the last 4 or 5 weeks. So it's been since the bye. So he hasn't gone 100 plus since the bye. He's gone 69, 83, 95, 92, 80. I just have a little bit more trust in him that I think he will get back to scoring hundreds, whereas like your Sicilies, your shorts, I don't see them getting back to being consistently 100. So you can move them on. I wouldn't be moving Crisp on, but I guess if you want to go him to Stewart, that's not a bad. That I'd still tick that move off. But yeah, who else we got? Penebri, only 70. Probably just shows that he's just a bit up and down. Had a good game last week, but that was helped by a lot of tackles. So I think he's a 70-plus guy, but I think he's more an 80 guy, not that sort of 95-plus that you probably need to be a top 6 defender there. It's funny how much Steele Solbon's fallen off. Steele Solbon's only averaging, what was he averaging? 73 for the year. That's a massive drop-off after previous years. Ash Johnson, 54, played well, kicked 3 goals in the first quarter. Was quite after that, but I don't mind him as a downgrade option if you're looking for one there. I'd probably prefer Holland because he'd be cheaper, but those two are there. Mason Redmond got injured on 42. I think if a couple of people jumped on him as a bit of a pod after showing some big scores. He was looking okay. He was on 42 from 43% game time, but 42 at the first half. So he was on track for a solid enough score, but yeah, unfortunately was injured. I think it was, I don't know if it was concussion or something. I don't know. I didn't watch that game, so if someone can let me know what that was as well. Darcy Cameron, as we said before, disgusting. Like, Josh Carmichael came on in the last quarter and scored 32 points. He nearly outscored Darcy Cameron in one quarter. Ridiculous. Disgusting. Like, that's Darcy Cameron's lowest score for the year, because he got scored 27 against the Crows in round 2, but I don't count that because he was a sub. So his lowest score before that was a 40 against Brisbane, but that was when he was sharing with Grundy and he wasn't the main rucks. But since he's been the solo ruck, his lowest score was an 83, and that was against Gold Coast. Got a couple of 80s, but he's been a 100 guy. So it is surprising that he put up that much of a bad score. Like, he only had 10 hit-outs. He only had 4 disposals, 1 mark, 2 tackles, kicked a goal. He was on 12 points straight away, pretty much, because he kicked one of the first goals of the game. So, yeah, not great. You've got to move him on. It just sucks that now his break-even was 101, so he's now going to drop down to 740. So instead of making money going to Gawn, it's actually going to cost you a few dollars now, which sucks. But yeah, Josh Carmichael, as I said, came on a sub 32. I still don't really know why he got dropped. I know that he only had 25% disposal efficiency last week against the Crows, but it was a wet game. A lot of his kicks were sockers, which, again, if you soccer and it goes to the opposition, it's obviously not going to be an effective kick. So, yeah, I don't really know why he got dropped. He looked good last week, but surely he gets a spot back in the team now. Like, he had 5 disposals, 2 marks, and 2 goals, and arguably won them the game. I know Elliott won them the game after the sign, but Carmichael kicked 2 important goals to get them back in the game. So, yeah, I'll definitely be thinking he's going to be back in the team next week in the starting 22. And the final game, West Coast St Kilda, as mentioned before, Jack Steele, the Man of Steele, is officially back. I know he's been back for 5 weeks now. Like I said, that's now 5 scores over 114 since he's been back. But this is his first score over 135 for the year. So, yeah, well, first score over 130 because he got a 130 bang on against Hawthorn early in the year. But this is the first real big score. Yeah, if you don't have him, jump on, because his break-even was 101. He's going to be over 900K this week, and it's just going to keep moving up. He's got Hawthorn this week, who he loves to play against. He's got Geelong, Brisbane, Sydney. Great matchups coming. So, yeah, Jack Steele, fantastic option. Brad Crouch has been solid this year, averaging 104. So, I just don't think he's an option. He's got 300s his last 4 games, but good for draft if you picked him up, because he would have been a bit of a slider. So, yeah, he's been good. Jack Wren, 115. Ron Marshall, 108. So he had a good finish to the game. He had a big last quarter. So that's now 400s in his last 5. But more importantly, he's a solo out for the rest of the year. So I do like him as an option that's cheap. I'll be considering him. But I think I'll be going Gawn this week, just because I think that he's more of the must-have. But I do like Marshall as well as an option if you've already got like a Gawn and an English. I would preferably want to put one in the forward line, have them as cover in case something happens to Gawn or English, then you don't have to bring in another rut. You can bring in someone else in another position there. Jack Sinclair, 88. So that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. He just lacked the marks, and he normally gets a couple of tackles. He only did the 1 tackle today, but yeah, he's not a huge tackler, but he just lacked the marks today. Only had the 5 marks, but he has scored some good scores while getting a lot of, but not a lot of marks. But 88, it's okay. Nothing wrong with that. He'll be fine, and he'll be good for the rest of the year. So definitely still look at him as an option. Jai Culley was very impressive yet again. So he had 19 disposals, 7 tackles, kicked a goal late as well, and had 87 points. He gave away 3 free kicks, so that could have been nearly 100. He's probably too expensive to look at now, but if you've got like all red dots on your bench and you need cover, I really like Culley as an option for that, because he's just gonna play every game for the rest of the year. So I do like him as cover there as a mid forward. So if you, as I said, all red dots on your bench, I think you can bring him in regardless of his price. Marcus Windhager, his best game as well, 84 points. So people are still rolling with him on the bench. That was his first score over 75 for the season. So that's good for him there. Alex Willen got 80 there. So that's okay, but not what you want. Gaff only 70 again. Gaff's just not the same player anymore. He had 6 tackles though. There you go. Gaff with 6 tackles. Doesn't normally do that. And Hoff 56, Hunter Clark 53. It was good to see him actually get through the game. Obviously, he's just had a horrible luck with just freak injuries. So, and Jade Gresham as well, 45, disappointing. I think Dossie held on to Gresham as well, so that's not bloody Gresham. You would have thought he would have got more than 45 against West Coast. But that's now, he just hasn't been great since Steele's been back. Literally hasn't gone over 85 since Steele's been back. So, yeah, definitely trade him if you've still got him. And Tim Kelly only scored 17 points and he played 84% game time. Just wrap that around your head. Marquee recruit that West Coast paid a lot of money to bring over, scored 17 points in 84% game time. I know he copped a massive cookie last week against Hawthorn, but 17 points is just, I know he copped attention from Windhager as well, but he had 4 disposals. That's ridiculous. Not great. If you had him in draft, you'd be spewing. And I know that as well. I know Jake from Hat Chat brought Billings in because he'd been consistent. He just needed some get out to the best he could, and he got a 0. He got injured. So, Jake, mate, if you're watching, I feel very, very sorry for you, man. I know we were talking about him actually on Wednesday night, the Bloody Traders show. So, yeah, not great from Billings. Just hasn't had a great year. Just riddled with injuries. But yeah, but you look at it, he had 5 games in a row of 90. So I could definitely see why he was a solid option to look at. But yeah. All right, that's it for the game recap. So let's get through all your questions. So if you're watching live, wherever you are, make sure you put in your questions in the live chats, and we'll get to all of those as well. So yeah, did I actually move up any ranking? So I moved up 1 spot. So I moved up to 22-26. So where did I come for the week actually with that? 1320 for the week. So yeah, and there you go. Matt got up to 2,500. So yes, with the Sinclair added kick. So Matt, who's in first, got 2,500, and he came 26th for the week. And then James in second, who we've had on the podcast before a couple of times, he got 2,499, and he lost a point. Like, who would have thought scoring 2,499 would be a bad thing because you lose a point? And then you had Brett in third as well with a 24.51. So those top guys, again, going huge. It's looking a little bit like a 3-horse race now, looking at those top 3, because you got Matt 41.796. Then you got James 41.706. So 90 points, the difference between the two of them there. And then Brett 41.640. So he's only 66 points behind James. But then you've got Terry in fourth, who is 166 points behind. So that's a little bit of a gap. And then you've got a couple of guys that are close there. So yeah, looking a little bit more like those top 3 are starting to pull away. But funny enough, the top 5 this week all ranked inside the top 650 coaches for the week. So just shows how big all those guys went there. So that's it. So let's get into questions anyway. At least I won league matchups, which is good. So I'll be in the finals. Let's have a look here. All right, let's get to your questions. Just checking as well how many likes we have on the video, because I can't see it where I'm watching from. So we've got 9 likes on the video. So there's 11 people watching currently. Haven't liked the video yet. So if you haven't liked already, make sure you click the like button. It takes 2 seconds and helps out the video algorithm stuff or whatever to get it out to more people and whatever. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already as well. Even if you don't want to watch me in the future, it does help out. So there you go. All right, question time. So I'll go through the ones I won't go through ones I've already read, obviously. So let's find these questions. Here we go. Moonboy, first question we've got here. So Petrarca to Steele or Blitzarves to English? That's a tough one. So Steele and Blitzarves or Petrarca and English. That's the combo I'm just playing in my head. I'd probably rather Petrarca and English. So I think you go Blitzarves to... Oh, actually, no, hang on. No, I just realised as well. If this is... Okay, so the way I'd say this Moonboy would be if Stanley's out this week and Blitzarves a solo ruck, I'd be going Petrarca to Steele. But if Stanley is in the side, I'd be going Blitzarves to English. So literally, Stanley will decide the trade for you. If Stanley's in the team, I'd be trading Blitzarves. But if not, I'd be keeping Blitzarves. Or Blitzarves to Marshall. But Blitzarves to... I'd probably go English over Marshall, just because we've seen it for the whole year. But Marshall's a good option as well, especially if you need the cash. But I would be waiting to see if Stanley's out or not. That's what I'll be looking at. Shane Uren says, do you think Holland stays in for the rest of the season now? Potentially, I think he does. Obviously, I'm not exactly sure because I didn't see the game, so I don't know how well he played. I only kicked a couple of goals. So hopefully he does play for the rest of the year. Obviously, he's had 2 years in the making of his debut. So hopefully he does, but I think he's still a good option as a downgrade this week. Probably the number one trade-in player this week just because of how cheap he is. So I do like him as an option. So I think he will, but I guess we'll just have to see. Moonboy Carmichael came on and made nice money. Yeah, nice. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so he had a break him negative 38, scored 32. So he's going to have a little bit of a higher break him than what he would have. But yeah, he did okay. He did really good coming on. Andrew Griffiths, I like Tom Stewart. Yeah, I do like Tom Stewart as an option this week. Will come back. He's got Bulldogs. He's going to want to prove a point as well. Bulldogs get up points to defenders, as we know. So yeah, and Stewart's got a really nice run home for the rest of the season. So including that juicy West Coast game in round 23 at GMHBA, which GMHBA he loves playing at. So his scores at GMHBA this year actually 157 against Fremantle, 94 against Port, who are very restricted for defenders, 169 against Adelaide. So only 2 games there this year, but we know he plays well there. Bulldogs, St Kilda, Gold Coast, West Coast. So his last all 4 games they give up points. So I really like Stewart as an option this week. He's definitely someone I'm looking at as well. What have we got here? James H has asked, Lairdless and the must trades keep piling up. Cameron to English or Gawn, or Keys or Petrarca to Laird. Oh, but that's where it sucks, because if Cameron put up a solid score, you could have said, okay, for one more week before Grundy comes back, and you could have gone and gone a Keys or Petrarca to Laird. But with Cameron looking so bad, I know Laird's been fantastic, and I think you just need Laird in your team. I think you have to go and get one of English or Gawn. It's probably, I think I lean to English still just because he's a solo ruck, whereas Gawn's still sharing with Jackson, so he's not getting the bulk share. So I'd probably still go English there, but yeah, Cameron English is probably the move I'd make. If you're going one of Keys or Petrarca, I think you could, I know Keys got good matchups, but his role is probably going to change a little bit with like us Crows, not us. Crows plays one, not Crows plays, with Crows wanting to play the rookies more in the midfield, like your Saligos and your Berries and stuff like that. So I'd probably go Keys to Laird. I think you could still go Keys to Laird and keep Cameron, because Cameron's still got 1 week without Grundy. But I think personally I'd rather go Cameron to English. I think that's what I'd be doing there. Moonboy, Blitzarves to English or Marshall versus Petrarca to Steele, to Petrarca to Steele versus Titch to Steele. Yeah, okay. So if I'd prefer to go Titch to Steele over Petrarca to Steele. So I'd prefer to go Mitchell. As I said before, Moonboy, if Blitzarves is solo ruck and Stanley's not playing, I'd be going Blitzarves to English. But if Stanley's in the team, I'd be going Blitzarves to English. But if Stanley's out and Blitzarves is solo ruck, I'll hold Blitzarves for a week and I'd be going Mitchell to Steele. That's what I'll be doing. So, yeah. Jake Freer. Jake, mate, good to see you in the chat again. Who to move on first? Ollie Wines, Petrarca. It's got to be Ollie Wines for me. He's just been awful this year. He's had 1 or 2 good games, but as I mentioned before, there's like at least Petrarca's still got this great role. He had a poor game on the weekend, but he still had 4 scores in a row over 96 or 95, and he had 3 of those were 100. So yeah, Ollie Wines, yeah, as I said, since he's bought only 200s, a 112 and a 105, but there's 3 70s and a couple of 80s in the other games. So I'll be definitely moving on Wines before Petrarca. Andrew Griffiths. If Treloar is out, I'll get Bailey Smith. If not, I'll go short to Stewart and Max Gawn in for Darcy Cameron. Got 230k. Yep, I like them. So yeah, Treloar's out. Yeah, I do like Smith, but if Treloar stays, I'd be definitely going short to Stewart. So short to Stewart and Cameron to Gawn, I love. Yeah, definitely tick both those off there. Charlie Bodchik, more tons up once again. Yeah, he's been really good. Been very good since moving to midfield. And you also Jai Culley, impressive 87. Yeah, he's been very impressive as well since making his debut. So yeah. What do we got here? So Charlie Bohachik says here, are these good trades for this week? Callum Brown in for Ginnivan, and then Cripps to Merritt or Steele. I wouldn't be bringing in Callum Brown. He's to expect he'll be over 300k this week, so I wouldn't be doing that. So I'd probably be, if you don't have Hollands, I'd be going Hollands. If you don't have an Ash Johnson, I'd go Ash Johnson. There's a couple of rookies there that I'd definitely be going over Callum Brown. I wouldn't be paying that much for a rookie. In terms of Cripps to Merritt or Steele, I think you could still go Cripps up, and I'd be going to Steele because I've got more trust in Steele personally. But Cripps has got a great matchup this week. So if you've got a Tom Mitchell or if you've got someone else that's a problem, I would almost consider moving them on instead because Cripps got a good matchup. But if Cripps your worst player, I still don't have any qualms getting rid of him because there's been a lot of 80s with Cripps lately. So yeah, Cripps to Steele I like. I'd be looking for another rookie for Ginnivan instead. Jared, hey, Bale, sorry I missed most of the stream. No, Jared, mate, it's all good, mate. Yeah, you can catch up later on. It's fine. It'll be up on replay for people that want to watch after. SJ, DJ. Do you also play FPL? Yes, I do. I do. I've made my team. I may even do a video where I might put my team up or something. That might be something that that I do. But yes, I'm doing FPL this year, and I follow soccer quite a lot. So yeah. King of the Stone Age 7 asked Bruce and Oliver or Gawn and Mitchell. Geez, that's tough. That's tough because Bruce is a headache. But to be honest, I would probably go Bruce and Oliver because I would rather Gawn. I don't want to get Bruce, but if you're asking me to pick between the two options, Bruce is going to score better than what Mitchell is. And if Bruce plays and is on the field, he'll score well. Whereas Mitchell's just not scoring well enough. But then again, you could go Gawn and Mitchell because he's been solid. That's a very good question. It's a tough one. I'll probably lean to Bruce and Oliver because at least Oliver top 8 mid. Bruce will be close enough to those top rucks when he's on the park. Whereas Mitchell is probably a good 20 points off of those top few midfielders. So Bruce and Oliver is what I'll be doing. Also, thank you very much to Dave Kingwell for subscribing. Really appreciate that, mate. Thank you. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. I have said a couple times in this video, if you don't want to watch me after, which I got no qualms about, even if you just subscribe just to get me to 1,000, I'd love it. But just, yeah, fantastic. So, yeah, all the support, as I always mention, very much appreciated. Paulie D, Sean Darcy to Gawn or Wines to Steele? I think you've got to go Wines to Steele. I think you gain because Wines has looked like a 75 guy and Steele is now looking like that 115 guy, 120 guy we saw at the back half of last year. So, yeah, and you're gaining 40 points maybe there, whereas Sean Darcy to Gawn, still think Sean Darcy can be okay at like an 80, 85, whereas Gawn's going to be that 105. So it's only 20 points. So I'd be doing Wines to Steele there. Unless you're worried about Sean Darcy and injury, then you could go Darcy to Gawn, but I'd probably go Wines to Steele and get that top 8 mid. James English, the second-ranked coach, is in the house. So disappointing 24.99. It's not disappointing, mate. I know it's disappointing you lost a point, but nearly 2,500 is fantastic. I've never scored 2,500 before. I think my highest score was that 24, whatever I got a few weeks ago, was my highest score ever. I think, yeah, the 24.85, and that was great. And mate, you had a good week. So I know you lost a point. I know. +3 to Gawn. Yeah, fantastic. I know you picked it up a couple of weeks ago. -3 to Brayshaw. Rank who will score more for the rest of the year. Sick Dog, Crisp, and Short. It's a good question. Like that one. Okay, scoring more for the rest of the year. I think Crisp's still number one. I've got a lot more faith that he's going to go and score a lot better. Number 2, that's tough because, yeah, just Sicily and Short, very similar. I'd almost go Sicily because I'm just looking at the matchups here. So like Short, it's got Brisbane, Port Adelaide, Hawthorn, Essendon. So it's got some good matchups there. I'd probably prefer Sicily, to be honest, because Sicily's got some really good matchups. St Kilda give up a lot of points to defenders. Gold Coast at UTAS, great matchup. Richmond, the MCG, and then the Bulldogs at UTAS. So I'd probably go Short first. I think he is more heavily owned in the top few, James, as well. So I'd prefer to get rid of both. But if you're picking between, I'd probably get rid of Short, personally. I think Short's more expensive as well. So you can get to a better defender like a Stewart, which would be probably a very good trade, James, if I don't say so myself. But I can't really say anything to the second overall coach. He's doing a lot better than me this year. Charlie Bochik said, who goes first out of Cripps and Guthrie. What's Guthrie's run? I think Guthrie's got a decent run coming. So Guthrie has got this week Bulldogs, who are tough, St Kilda are tough for midfield as well. He's got Gold Coast, West Coast. So I would almost lean to trading Guthrie first. And the reason I'd lean to trading Guthrie first is because Guthrie's worth 120k more than Cripps, or 140k, but with the price changes, it's probably going to be less, because Guthrie's break-even was 125, so it's probably going to it's over 100k difference. So, and Guthrie's probably going to drop cash. So I'd probably go Guthrie first. It sounds weird because normally you would trade out the guy that's been struggling for a lot longer, but I'd probably go Guthrie first. Worth more. You can get into a lot better player as well. Because if you're getting rid of Cripps, unless you've got money there, you're probably looking at like a Petrarca type player, maybe a Bailey Smith, a Bont. There's a Petrarca there, maybe LDU, Stewart if you're looking for a defender, Keys, those sort of players. Whereas if you go Guthrie, you're more than likely going to be able to get to a Merritt, a Mills, a Steele, a Took, a Brayshaw, an Oliver, a Laird, a McCluggage, someone of that ilk in the top top line. So that's why I'd probably go Guthrie and get rid of him first. So Lockett still hasn't lifted, so I was hoping it would have lifted by now. King of the Stone Age has asked, I do have Marshall in the forward line to cover the Bruce roller coaster if needed. Okay, yeah, so that's probably a good thing. That probably splits it. So yeah, I'd be going Bruce and Oliver there. I think that Bruce, when he's on the park and fit, is a lot closer to those top rucks. Whereas, as I said, I think Mitchell's probably 20 to 30 points off of those guys with the role that he's playing, which I still don't understand. He's a Brownlow medalist. He should be in the midfield, but hey, I'm not the coach. So, but yeah, I'd be going with Bruce and Oliver. Charlie Boychick, exactly. Thanks so much. Yep, no, all good, mate. Oh, happy to help. Also, I'll probably go for a couple more minutes here. So if you want to get any last minute questions in, if you're watching, make sure that you do that as well. Also, as I've mentioned a couple of times, probably mentioned a few too many times, but hey, there you go. Make sure you leave a like on the video. We've got 24 watching, so we've got 14 likes. So 10 people haven't liked it yet. So those 10 people, if you could chuck a like on the video, that'd be very much appreciated. Also subscribe to the channel. We're at 515. Thanks to, again, as well to Dave Kingwell for subscribing before. Very much appreciated. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you do. So, while I'll wait for a couple more questions to come in terms of what I'm looking at doing my trades this week, I'm looking at going, because I've got a little bit of money in the bank, 217k. I'm probably going to be going Darcy Cameron to one of Gawn or Marshall. It'll probably more likely be Gawn, I think. And then I'll be going Tom Mitchell up to one of Toot Miller or Callum Mills. Zach Merritt's also there, but I probably prefer Took or Mills. It's hard because they've both got very nice runs coming up. So Mills has got Giants, North Melbourne, Collingwood, St Kilda, and Took has got West Coast, Hawthorn, Geelong, North Melbourne. So they've both got great. I may even consider, I probably don't want to do this because I probably want to get rid of Cameron, but I may be able to go Petrarca and Mitchell to Mills and Took. That might be something I do just to get those two big guys in, and then Cameron to Gawn the week after. That might be something I look at doing if I want to do that. So yeah, that could be something that is also in play there. But yeah, I'll be doing 2 upgrades this week with the 200k, and that's pretty much what it'll be like. So Charlie Boychick, does Neil stay? I think it just depends on your team, Charlie. It just depends if you've got other issues. If you haven't got any other issues, I don't actually hate the idea of moving off Neil because I think there could be a few tags coming. But Neil's been great this year, so he's definitely the least of a lot of people's worries. King of the Stone Age has said Smith or Bont if Treloar is out. I think I'll lean to Bont. I think Bont, as I've mentioned a couple of times, I think Bont's just going to be doing this now. He's just going to be going huge because Bulldogs need to make they want to make finals, obviously. They're in the 8 now, but they're going to want to stay there. They know they need to win every game. Geelong's tough game, but I could see him scoring well there. Fremantle, Giants, Hawthorn. I think Bont's going to end the year really big. But Bailey Smith's also a very good option as well, because Bailey Smith's been great this year. Only, as I said, only the one score under 90 all year and only 2 scores under 100. So, but yes, I'd be going Bont out of those two. So, excuse me. All right. I reckon that's it. I reckon we're done for tonight. So, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight to the weekend report. If you did enjoy it, hang on. There we go. That was coming for a while. Apologies for that. But yeah, if you enjoy the video, make sure you leave a like on the video. It's always much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss when we go live. Make sure you check out the last weekend forecast episode. I know it previews round 19, but we had XAVIER ELLIS, obviously former West Coast and Hawthorn Premiership player on. Great chat. Great to get him on. And hopefully we've got some more a lot more special guests coming in all the other episodes that we do as well. So thank you to him for coming on. Make sure you go and follow all the socials. All links are in the description below. So your Facebook page, obviously the DT Talk website where I do the weekend forecast written version, written like the article. Instagram, I got another Instagram account for YouTube updates. So make sure you go and follow that account. You can follow my personal one as well. The links for both. Twitch, which I stream off there with this stuff. So if you want to go and follow that, I think I'm on 9 followers or something. So if you want to be the 10th, feel free. And I reckon that's all the socials. And follow me on Twitter as well. Thank you as well. Also got over 400 followers over the weekend, so up to 401. So if you haven't followed me on there, make sure you go and follow. And I do tweet a fair bit just about footy stuff in general over the weekend and the week and stuff. So yeah. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching. And we'll see you guys for the weekend forecast on Friday. But obviously, I'll be. I probably won't be doing Twitter Space on Wednesdays now. I just don't think it's probably a lot. And I'm going to the US in a couple of weeks, so it'd be a bit hard to do that. But yeah, Twitter Space will be on the Friday night still. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Friday night for the weekend forecast. So I'm out, guys. Cheers. Have a good week.